To be a successful actor, you have to have a great headshot. Let's talk about how to shoot one.
Acting Class Weekly with legendary character actor Sean Whalen. Lessons, tips, and insight into the craft and business of acting from a man who's been directed by the likes of Spielberg, Eastwood, Tim Burton, Ang Lee, Michael Bay, Wes Craven, Tom Hanks, and many more of Hollywood's A-list. He is 30 years an actor and your professor, Sean Whalen.
Roxy, we are going to talk about literally one of the most essential things that everybody talks about when regarding acting, and that is the headshot.
Every person who asks me about what the first steps are, how to do it, this is one of the very first things that you have to figure out. After you figured out the acting stuff and actually being good,
yes,
you've got to figure this out because it really matters.
Well, the mistake is that a lot of people ask, how do I get it? And a student asked me that, who's been studying with me off and on, but he had, a chunk of time on, then he had some family stuff he had to deal with, and a chunk of time on again, and then had other issues. And he said, hey, I need to get an agent, I need to get some headshots. And I said, you need to stay in class consistently for a little while, because unfortunately people ask this, how do I get an agent? How do I get headshots? Before anything. And that's why I purposefully structured this show to make sure we had the acting stuff started and rolling before we even did it. In my 2-year plan, guys, I said, no, don't even worry about this for 6 months to a year after we started into our acting. And you're right, people ask it all the time. But do you find that they ask it sooner than, getting their own craft? And
I do think so, especially because, and we'll obviously hear more details from our very important guest today, but you have to retake your headshots pretty frequently. So if you move out here and you take your headshots immediately, and then you wait a few months, then you get into a class, then you're in a class for a year, you're not submitting your headshots, but before you know it, 2 years have gone by, and you're trying to use that 2-year-old headshot, and you have different color hair now, and you've gained 12 pounds, you can't even use that headshot anymore. So there's no point in doing it until you're ready.
Well, let me introduce who we have here today. As always, Miss Phenomenal, Roxy Striar.
Thank you so much.
In the booth, Jeff Graham, Mr. Funtabulous.
Always funtabulous.
And when I say that this show was delayed, changed, discussed ad nauseum to make sure we got this amazing photographer on our show, I would not be exaggerating.
But you also are setting her up like she's difficult and she's the best.
I'm saying she's amazing and a great. Wow, I can't make a compliment. That's 2 compliments that have failed.
Well, that was an attempt at a compliment?
No, I was saying she's so. No. Oh, okay. Let me clarify. No. I think I'm finally understanding why you thought it was not positive. Was because she's so busy, she's so sought after.
There we go.
But we could have easily done this at the time slot that we wanted for the show with someone else, but Roxy and I refused. We did not want to have...
We put our foot down.
We put our foot down and said no one else but Ivonne Brady. Do you go professionally by Ivonne Brady or Ivonne Macias? Or?
Ivonne Brady.
Ivonne Brady, an amazing headshot photographer that yours truly and...
Yours truly.
Yes, have gotten our headshots. We had an actress, Megan, who was here a couple weeks ago talking about, how to behave in an acting class. She just shot with Ivonne as well.
Ivonne is the #1 headshot photographer I have ever shot with. I've probably shot with a dozen different people, and I think that she just has this really special way about her. And if you check out, mine are all over my Instagram and online. Yours are as well.
Yes.
With our headshots. I mean, she's just...
Mine's my Facebook profile.
So freaking good. So good. And good at adapting.
I'm so flattered, you guys. I really am.
Well, you're excellent, and
good compliment, Sean.
Yes. See, did I correct it? So
you definitely
how did
it
come out? I guess I'm disconnecting from how it first came out.
Did it like?
I missed what you were thinking, Roxy, because I was like, what? What's going on here?
Really?
See.
Wow.
See, it landed on you in the special Roxy vortex.
Well, if somebody said about me, it made we had to reschedule so many times, and we had to move heaven and earth for this person, and we just kept rearranging for them.
See,
it's Roxy Striar.
I'm literally hearing no negativity in that.
Really?
It sounds to me you're very busy.
Jeff?
You're making me feel bad.
Mr. Funtabulous, where do you land on this?
I think I'm really glad the guest is here.
Yeah, me too.
Okay.
So true.
Very
Thank
political. Very political.
Sean, it's our constant.
Yeah,
this
it's
is
our
why we do the
constant-
show together.
We did. This is the only place that we communicate well. Literally every time outside of here, we can't text without misunderstanding, talk without misunderstanding. Like literally, and people look at us and go like, "You guys do a show together. How does that happen?" But it
Acting.
does. It does. We actually do our best in here.
Yeah.
We always have.
Very true.
We actually, no, we've hung out before and had wonderful times, but it is quite funny how many times we misunderstand our intentions. Okay, but before we jump into the headshot discussion, we're going to talk about my week as always. Ready? 1, 2, 3.
Sean's week. Best we've ever
Wow,
done.
that's one of the best we
we've
ever had. We never
done.
even, yeah, that was good. Mr. Funtabulous, lay that down forever.
Yeah.
Because that's going to be it.
Mark it.
Mark that. Okay, so this week I went to I called off of a horror convention because I felt it was so important to go to this wedding of one of the executive producers of Fresh Off the Boat, good friend of mine who also has another good friend who created Fresh Off the Boat, Nanachka Khan. Laura McCreary got married. But 15, 20 years ago, we were all on a show called Pepper Ann in a cartoon.
Pepper Ann,
We were all the
yeah.
writers of that show.
No.
And in that writing room is the creator of Fresh Off the Boat, executive producer of Fresh Off the Boat, showrunner of Walking Dead, and 2 producer writers of Walking Dead also. I mean, that room was full of talent. And myself.
Do you have that pinch me moment where you're just looking around
Well,
and
it's just
thinking,
so
I'm
crazy
here?
that, like, well, no, when we were there, we were just all laughing in the room. But then to see how we've come out of that, it's just been amazing. It's been really cool. So I went to that wedding, and it was worth giving up the horror convention money. I made sure that the fans are going to see me next year. So
Does the convention get upset with you for pulling out because
no, because they just know that actors
have to do that?
have just last minute stuff. So they overbook and they have people on standby. But I told them as soon as I figured out, it was only like 3 days after this was a few months ago that I realized it was the same day. I said I had to go. But it was so wonderful. And I just had the greatest time reminiscing and to hear the successes. Also on the writer's room was the creator of Doc McStuffins and Vampirita. Those little, have you ever heard of Doc McStuffins?
No.
It's a very, very popular Disney toddler show for
Currently?
Disney Junior. Yeah. Huge. And they have
Big Doc
toys and everything.
McStuffin
Doc
guy, huh?
McStuffins.
I have
And-
many nieces and nephews, so I am very aware of Doc McStuffins.
Yes.
Yes.
And the really tough thing was just hearing the blowback from these, from fans of, of course, my friends from The Walking Dead. Like, man, they're ruthless. These guys have gotten like major harassment because they don't like a plot point. You know what I mean?
It's so crazy.
It is.
As if that's the actor's fault.
No, it wasn't the
this is
actors, the creators.
creator,
Yeah,
showrunner.
the
Well,
showrunner.
I love the show.
But
I'll
the
send
thing
love.
is, it's funny. Like my friend said something that's very interesting. He said there's a difference between a geek and a nerd. A geek really enjoys it, but nerds are ruthless. Like if this doesn't fall into their specific needs or wants. He made a
Is
distinction.
that his personal distinction?
His
or is that
personal,
a,
his personal thing. Yeah. He felt a nerd is someone who's like will go after the showrunner and do really harsh tweets and stuff like that. But a geek will just enjoy it and turn it off if they don't like it.
Do you experience this ever? Geeks versus nerds for your
For
fandom?
me, no. My fandom, no, because horror fans aren't really like that.
They're all
you know?
geeks, not nerds.
Well, no. I've seen on my threads that they definitely rip on The Walking Dead sometimes, for sure. They get so mad at it, there's just a lot of expectation and too many different expectations. So that was my Saturday. Was wonderful. I did reschedule. Remember I told you I was going to call. So I'm rescheduled to meet the executive producer of MacGyver and Hawaii Five-0.
a new lunch date now?
Yep, we got a new lunch date on the books, so that's really cool. And then I had a Game of Thrones viewing with a friend of mine who was going to relaunch my independent movie, Crust. He's going to come aboard and produce, and we're
Sean!
we're going to. Now, there's no necessarily like major financing yet, but he's got plans how to do it. He's a cult film director, Jason Trost, who did the FP and FP2. We'll definitely have him and his wife and to produce a lot of independent movies, which is really great. But
didn't you earlier this year go to a movie of his that you were kind of tired? You didn't feel like going to?
No, that's a different guy.
Oh, okay,
Different guy. No, this is I love Jason and all his movies, and he's got a huge cult following. He's like, let's join forces. I'm going to show you how to do fundraising. We're gonna do it in his dad's house for super cheap. We're gonna build a laundromat. Like, it's great. It's very exciting.
That's
and
amazing,
I would like
Sean.
you to be in it, by the way.
Whoa, hey-o.
I'm gonna throw.
I love the script.
I know. I'm gonna throw you some. I have 2 parts I want you to look at.
I can't wait till people know what it's about.
Yeah,
It's
you will.
Truly wild.
Yeah, it's a very cool movie. So my takeaway from my Sean's Week for this week is, be patient and flexible, which is perfect for our headshot discussion. Flexible, patient, and you don't really know what's going to happen in the session, but you just want to be prepared and relaxed. And so that's what I kind of had to do this week, is be prepared and here I am thinking, hey, it's going to be a great reunion, and then I do listen to the very harsh stories of people being threatened because they wrote an episode that the fans didn't like. And, so you're there. And so all of a sudden I'm a kind of a friend and counselor and someone to talk to. I mean, they weren't like devastated anyway. They're just kind of amazed at how passionate the people are. And they're great people. Wonderful. Scott Gimple's a fantastic guy. All the people are just really good people, and they're doing their best. So it's just about being flexible and relaxed. So that's my takeaway. But before we get into the main subject, let's hear a little bit about.
You're queuing him up.
I'm trying.
You're
to, like,
doing
did you see me try to lead him in?
Because Ivonne doesn't even know what's coming right
Mr.
now.
Funtabulous.
We need our musica.
Roxy's going to talk about AfterBuzz.
Well, I'm going to start telling them anyway,
tell
and then
them
I
anyway.
have enough faith in Mr. Funtabulous that
Yes,
he
that it will
he'll
happen.
background me.
Yes.
Guys,
Quick, I think with the Skype guest guys, maybe I can do the music in the background.
you should, maybe you should hum it. Yeah, how's that? Am I hearing it? Yep.
Take it away,
It's a good little hum.
Yeah.
So if you guys are watching this, you've already found AfterBuzz TV, which is a great thing. But what you might not know is that we do coverage for all of your favorite TV shows. So like you were just talking about, Sean, The Walking Dead, even Fear the Walking Dead, right now, a huge one, Game of Thrones. If watching the show just isn't quite enough for you, you definitely want to check out our after shows because they really break it down. We have some huge guests on the show.
Ugh.
I just sounded kind of like Trump. They're huge. All the guests are huge.
Huge. Well, he's got the New York thing, so it's huge, no H.
Huge, yeah.
Yeah, huge.
We have
I just sensed
huge
some
coverage.
H because of the microphone.
And we would love for you guys to check those out. But also what would be great is if you could rate, comment, and subscribe. So why is that important? Rating and subscribing actually means that we get priority on iTunes and on YouTube so more people can find our show. So it's really helpful for us if we want to keep the show going. For all of the aspiring actors out there or working actors that are interested in this, we need to make sure we're getting enough eyes and ears. And commenting is really important to us because we love hearing what you guys have to say, and we actually cater our episodes to what you're looking for. So if you want to know about something like headshots, we can answer specific questions, or reels, or agents, or how to find the right class for you. We're covering all of that. We need to hear from you. So rate, comment, subscribe, give us that thumbs up, that 5-star wherever you are.
Yes.
We really appreciate it. And I'm hoping in your mind right now, you're just picturing that magical music playing in the background.
I don't want to. There's no way this is going to sound good. But the
You're
music.
going to try it?
No, the music is your better half for this section.
You know what?
And you know it.
I'm okay
I think you
with
know that. Yeah. You own that.
That's an okay
You own
kind
that.
of thing to say to me
Yeah.
because it's true. The music really is.
It does.
my
It
better
lifts you up,
half.
and I can just see you sailing when that music is underneath.
I soar,
you.
don't I?
You soar.
I soar.
It's beautiful.
Thank
it's the
you.
wind beneath your wings.
Should we do that one together?
I don't know.
It's a different
It's
time.
very scary.
Okay.
All right, so let's jump into headshots. Just very briefly, Ivonne and I met through a mutual friend years ago, and we just hit it off.
An industry friend, or was it unrelated
Just
to?
an unrelated, and we met, and we just hit it off.
How many
And
years ago, Sean?
what?
How many years ago do you
I
remember?
would say, where are we at?
It's
Let's
been
see.
like
I would say
13.
13 or 15 years ago. But we
Something.
just hit it off, tons of laughter, and just became, it's one of those things like instant friends. Instant friends. It was awesome. So I've been going to get my headshots for her for years. I've gone every couple years. Yvonne is sweet enough to say that she doesn't think because I don't age that quickly that I have to come in as
He takes like
as
Benjamin Button. He does not age whatsoever.
Well, that is true about you, Sean.
I don't know about that.
No,
I
it
don't
is.
know about that.
No, it's true.
Well, I will tell you to look at the top of my very bald
How
head.
often
and
do
I
you go
will-
in?
The last time I went in was a few years ago. No, 2 years ago, I think. But I mean, I literally just asked my management, should I go in? And they looked at the pictures and they went, no, they're still good. So, and even though I had minor facial hair, which is kind of an issue, but they said it's not enough to make you have to go do a whole new one. So that was interesting. But let's talk really quickly, and so Yvonne can jump in for us. But so getting a good headshot, the first thing you have to know is you must, as we talk about in the money and the health and marketing, you need to know who you are and how you want to market yourself. What do you want to say? What are these pictures showing? If I went in for a Tom Cruise leading man thing, it wouldn't jive. I'm not going to get those parts. So you have to know who you are 100% and be humble and know exactly your type. That's what you're looking for. And that's what this can help you establish, is to know exactly who you are. You also have to know if you're doing commercial or more smiley. Isn't that right, Yvonne?
Yeah, the difference between commercial and theatrical is commercial, you're appealing to, like a commercial, like a product.
Right. So they're
and
more
so-
smiley is what I heard.
Yeah, you have to envision yourself selling that product. You have to be trustworthy, a little bit more light and
Easy.
just colorful.
Yes, more colorful. Yes, because it's more instant. It's an instant thing that they have to capture you.
As opposed to theatrical, where the vision is what, Yvonne?
You're gonna, instead of selling a product, you're basically selling a personality type.
Yeah, that's
so there's
why
going to be a little bit more emotional depth.
Yeah, great. That's a great way to put it, and that's one of the
That's why we
topics we're
have
going
her.
to stop. Yes, and this is the number one, guys. This is the number one. I reached out to agents, managers, and got a list that we're going to go over a little bit later. But it must look like you. It must look like you. It is not the picture to be put over the mantle for everyone to see. How do you address that, Yvonne?
It's just funny because I'll do a photo shoot and I'll shoot one of the things that you'd asked me is how many I shoot, and I kind of like shoot maybe anywhere from 75 to 125 pictures per look. I sometimes go crazy because I get so hyper focused, and but I'll end up giving the actor all of the pictures, which are a lot, and I'm sometimes so surprised by the one that they pick, because I get mad at myself because I always promise myself that I'm going to delete anyone that I just don't think is like, wow, and I don't. And then later I'm like, God, you picked that picture when there were so many amazing emotional pictures.
So do you feel it's the wrong one because you got a sense of who they were and you don't feel it jives to who they are?
I see something, it's like it's all about the eyes. It is all about the eyes, and the emotion. You see a picture, you can look at a picture and a person is beautiful, and wow, that's a beautiful picture. Color is beautiful, lighting is beautiful, but if there's not anything going on behind the eyes, the picture has to like basically jump out of this, jump out,
yes,
and talk to you.
Right.
And so if you don't look at the picture and go, oh, what was that person thinking?
Right.
Then it's a great picture, but maybe not a great headshot.
I think it was really helpful for me, Yvonne, that when I went to you, you had already, Sean, who had introduced me to his manager, had talked to Yvonne, and we had figured out what kind of looks I was going for. And then after I took the pictures, I kind of let it be out of my hands because she had done such a great job of getting that emotion that I let other people look at it and tell me which picture I looked that really came to life the most, because I have a hard time not being vain. I don't know if that's everybody.
Yeah, that's everybody.
Yeah, and so I pick the picture that I think I look prettiest in all the time. But that doesn't really matter. So I think picking your own headshot doesn't work. Obviously, if you hate it, that's a problem. But
Right.
having the people that you trust that are close to you, whether it's a manager, an agent, the actual
Friends.
photographer, your
No
friends,
family, guys.
not your
No family.
other actors, whatever, having them look at it.
And that's important. That's an important point. You don't want, the opinion that matters, you guys, is your agent, your manager, people in the industry that know.
We're
You don't want to
talking
ask
about-
somebody
we
who's not in the
also-
industry, because they're going to pick the same picture, that everybody else picks. Oh, you look so pretty in this one. And it's not about that. It's, the picture definitely has to speak to, you're thinking the casting director, right? You got to think like a casting director, and you got to go, what is going to make me jump out of 100 different little thumbnail pictures off of the computer, and so you have to consider that.
Yeah, I think that, and if you didn't have an agent and a manager, what would you say? Like an acting teacher, maybe, or acting
people in the industry.
friends?
So other actors, I guess maybe the photographer. If you don't have anybody else, you want to ask the photographer.
Yeah.
Can you tell me what your favorites are?
Right. And
so
why?
I've had people, pick their favorites, and then they'll say, Yvonne, can you retouch this picture? And I'll just say, you know what? I saw so many better ones. Like, I don't necessarily think that's like the best one out of that. So can we skip on that one? And then they'll say, okay, well, which one do you recommend? And I will,
Right. So yeah, and then, because as long as, and this is one of the things that we'll talk about later, is that you trust, after you've had a session with Yvonne, I don't have anyone who goes, I didn't trust her. I don't know. They say she's so passionate. She cares. She's so engaged. That's what you want in your photographer. And that leads into, how to find a good photographer. Number one, hands down, guys, because this is in our series of podcasts. You should already be in a class. You should have some sort of networking. Referrals. That's what, and so it should match your criteria, budget, but really about the experience if you can. The referrals are the number one way.
And is that based off of you've seen their headshot, you love it, you want to go to their person, or just somebody raving about an experience?
Someone raving about an experience, and then they show you the headshot, and that's got to, be good. If it is vice versa, same thing. I love your headshot. How was it? Oh, it was great, but it was so awful. It was like pulling teeth. You know what I mean? It's either one. It's chicken or the egg. It's chicken or the egg. Either one of those, but they both have to be there.
Well,
and obviously
this
budget.
is really important as well. I cannot urge this enough, is that this is your business. It is your business. You have to spend the money on a good headshot photographer, not a photographer, a fashion photographer. You have to find a photographer who specializes in headshots.
That's
period.
exactly right.
Can you talk about why and what the difference is, and how you make sure that you're picking that person? What are the signs?
I think,
Websites for one.
I would just, I would go with, if you have an agent, your agent's going to give you a list, and your agent knows best. Knows hands down, right? So he's going to give you a list. You should pick from that list. If you don't have an agent, then like Sean said, referrals.
Right.
But yeah, I would Google. I would Google and go to Instagram. And although I don't post too much, and I know I should. I don't have a lot of time. But if you put in the hashtags Los Angeles headshot photographer, you will see everybody who's working.
Wow. That's great.
On that hashtag, and then you can then look at their work. You can see all the posts. You could see comments, and so that's a good way, I would say.
Right.
I'd have to assume it's the same for New York or for
wherever
Other
cities
you are.
would probably be the same.
You'll be able to see, you'll be able to see where they're from. But if you put Los Angeles, Los Angeles, obviously you could get Los Angeles. The same goes for New York, NYC headshot photographer. So city.
Yeah. So
Great tip.
These are that's a great way to find it. And then obviously nuts and bolts, guys, we talk about money. Like it's got to fit in your budget and it's got to match, and then sometimes you might go, you know what, I've got this much, but I haven't found anyone in this range. Maybe I have to throw an extra $100 on a credit card or something if I have to just make sure I invest wisely.
So because we're so honest with our fans and our audience, Sean, do you think that it is insane to spend $1,000 on 3 looks and retouched images, or what is the price
It
range?
has to be something that you are happy with, because that's the worth is so, it's so esoteric to different people. If you have that $1,000 and you know that you've loved everything they've done and you've heard amazing things, then maybe it does make sense for you. I personally think you can find really good photographers without spending that money.
What do you think you can find really great photographer? Like, what does somebody have to budget out in order to make sure they have
I think
great
at the very
headshots?
least, what I was reading, because I did my research, they said anywhere from 300 to 1,000. But I think you can, that's fair. I think that's a fair window to work with. And I always work towards the lower end of that.
And that's for multiple looks. Right, Sean? That's for multiple looks?
Yeah. For like 2 or 3 looks, I would say.
Yvonne, is that how it works where all the time everybody comes to you once a year, once every 2 years, once every 3 years, whatever it is, and they shoot all their looks at one time? Or is it better to try to do 2 different sessions? So one time you can have straight hair, one time you can have curly hair, or one time you could focus on a more serious look. How does that work for you?
Well, I get repeat clients, and yeah, like you just said, maybe every couple of years, and then they'll come back and they'll say, well, I changed my hair. Never really do I get somebody saying I want to add a look, because I'm pretty thorough when I do shoot. Mm-hmm. And so, we tend to get every look possible. Yeah. And sometimes I, that, Roxy, that I throw in some looks.
I love that about you.
I know.
Yeah. And, but yeah, so most of my repeat clients do it because they've either shaved their beard or cut their hair or grown their hair, something like that.
Right.
Okay.
So my first question for you, because we kind of covered the other ones, but what is, because every time I go to you, Ivonne, you always have a different, you have learned something new that you say, the what's now going on. Like the last time I went with you, you said something very interesting. You said, start talking about something when you were taking my pictures.
Well,
like,
I don't want to give my,
so
my little tricks.
No, not all of them away. But my point is, what do they say? How do you find this information? What's the latest thing?
You mean like what agents and casting directors
are telling you?
Agents usually will tend to, they're just as, as perfectionist as I am. And so they want to be very specific. The headshot is such an important thing. It's like, I did the acting thing a long, long time ago. And I remember it was such a stressful situation because you have to find the right photographer who's going to shoot you the way you look your best. And I could not, for the life of me, find a photographer who knew how to shoot me. I just couldn't. So I'd end up spending $500 and I hated my headshots, or my agent hated my headshots. And then I'd do it again and then it didn't work out. And so I get how important it is to the actor, to the agent, that their client doesn't go there and spend all this money and then not get what they want, So they're very specific. But one of the things that I've gotten that recently agents and casting directors are looking for just really interesting shots, It's not about perfection anymore. They don't want to see this beautiful, perfect person who doesn't have her hair out of place. They want to see a real person.
Not super touched up.
Not super. They hate that. Now it's like I basically will shoot so that you don't have to Photoshop your images. So they'll come out of the camera and they look beautiful as is. And I don't even want to Photoshop. A lot of times people say, can you edit this? And I'm like, well, I'm not going to edit a lot. I'm going to maybe pop the eyes a little bit more. But you don't want to remove your wrinkles, like your blemish. Well, blemishes, yes. But you don't want to remove too much because it really turns them off. They want real people. They want the hair blowing in the wind. They want you speaking mid-sentence, like it's almost like you're about to say something. Right. They don't want perfect smiles anymore. They don't want that.
Well, that's perfect for me because I could bite an apple through a picket fence with my crooked teeth.
One of the questions that I get asked from newer actors, and I'm sure you get this all the time, is should they get their hair and makeup done when they're going to get their headshot done. So a lot of photographers will offer that. Say if you want a hair and makeup person, I have somebody here, or they'll say you can go and get your hair and makeup done before you come here. What do you think about that?
You know what? I'm kind of down the middle with it because I think that if you don't know how to do your makeup, you know, I've had people like that of like, I don't wear makeup, I don't know how to do my hair, then yes, you definitely should pay for a makeup artist. And and we offer that, right? So that's great. On the other hand, if you know how you like your, you know, to look, because a lot of times a makeup artist kind of overdo you.
Right.
And that's a drag too. So you end up paying all this money and then you don't even look like yourself. So
Right.
I think that you really need to kind of ask yourself, the makeup artist that I use, she's amazing and she's very natural and I love. But if you know how to do your makeup, I always say, come hair and makeup ready. And I think I did that with you, right, Roxy?
Yes.
I don't remember, but hair and makeup ready. And then if I don't like something, then I'm going to, you know, I'll do adjustments.
That's
because
exactly
I do it as well.
that's exactly
That's
what
what we do.
happened with us. I know how to do my hair and makeup pretty well, and I think that I wanted to do that because I'll look how I'll look on auditions because I don't get my hair and makeup done for auditions. I do it myself.
Okay.
So that's how I went, and then I remember Ivonne, you were like, "Oh, your under eyes look a little dark. Let's brighten them up." And then we did a quick bright up, and that's
So adjustments
that's how it went.
there.
And I brought 10 different lipstick colors, and so that we
Yeah.
could play with that as well, and obviously so many different outfit options. Which you
And
need to
Megan,
play.
who I just shot just recently that you referred, Sean, she, beautiful girl, and she's a redhead, freckles, and she's adorable. And she came hair and makeup ready, and she looked stunning. However, I was like, you know, you have freckles under there, and I can't really see them. And then I said, I really think you need to wash your makeup off, and let's go with the freckles. Because I think
On all shots or some of the looks?
I said, you know, let's show your freckles because that's who you are. You know what I mean? You're going to show up and they're going to see freckles, and on your picture is going to show that you don't have any. So
Right.
let's wash it off, and then we'll kind of work our way. And also because freckles are, you know, that's another thing, Sean, with the casting directors and the agents, they want to see unique, right? So freckles don't hide them because they
Makes
love
you
them.
special, yeah.
What are some of the biggest mistakes you see when people come into you then? Besides covering their freckles, what are other ones that are no-nos?
I got one. A girl with I got a picture. This is what I look like. Beautiful curly hair. Gorgeous curly hair, and she comes to the photo shoot with her hair straightened. And I was like, "What? Wow! Like your curly hair, that's what's gonna set you apart from all these other people, you know?"
Right.
And so we said, "Well, we'll just shoot that another day. We'll shoot that another day." But yeah, that you want to capitalize on those things that are unique, you know,
That make
because
you special.
not everybody has them. So, and that I'm telling you, that'll get you auditions.
Yeah.
So
of
do you
course.
think don't cover up moles, don't cover up freckles, don't cover your hair the way that it is, just have it be more natural and like you?
Be you, because that's what they're looking for. You know,
Right.
It's really strange. They're looking for some, you know, everybody is beautiful here in LA. Everybody. So they're looking at all these pictures on their computer screen, and they're going, everybody looks the same because everyone's absolutely stunning, right?
Right.
So they want to find the one that maybe doesn't look like the rest.
Right.
And so, you know, it's tough being stunning in this industry now.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, if you're quirky or you're ethnic looking or ambiguous, if you've got curly hair, if you're a little overweight, that's going to give you a better shot.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know,
That's
so
great.
you got to capitalize on those things.
And I
for
mean, I
pretty
think-
people, I tell them, you know what, you're like Megan. I was like, you're stunning, you're beautiful. Let's show those freckles because that's gonna, you know, that's gonna give you an edge, and that's gonna. And she looked adorable. I mean,
they're great
Oh my
pictures.
gosh, I loved her photos. They were amazing.
I think it's also because in this day and age, more people are shooting on video, and that's way less forgiving.
Yeah.
Video is less forgiving. Even with makeup, it's very unforgiving. So they need something that reflects that. And that's also a sign of the times. When I was first coming up, it was black and white headshots.
Right.
And
me
that's
too.
we're
old, Sean.
We're old. Yeah, we are. So what is the attitude that is the easiest to work with? When someone comes in, what are your funnest and easiest shoots where you as an artist, you know, feel like you can explore and play? And so what would you say in terms of attitude?
Well, I love confidence, you know, like, and I think of you, and not just because I'm on here and because you're my friend, but I really, honestly, from everyone that I've ever shot, I remember you specifically because there was absolutely no fear. You know, everybody, no matter how long they've been in the business, are nervous when they walk into a headshot session. For some reason, they're just nervous because maybe because they wanted to, you know, to succeed so badly. I have no idea, but you were the only one who didn't have a care in the world. It was so bizarre.
Wow.
And I'm like, wow, like it's just so neat. To
Well,
have that
when
kind
you
of
said that
confidence.
everyone in LA is gorgeous, I knew that wasn't me, so I had confidence that I could, whatever I did was fine.
You're just like you don't care. I don't know what it is.
Yeah.
It's like weird, you know, comedic confidence that just you're just like whatever. And also because you're not afraid to be silly, maybe.
Yeah.
And so you don't care if you look, you know, silly.
Yeah.
So,
right.
So that's one of the things that I really love when actors are confident and just, you know, relaxed. It usually takes me so long. Not everybody, but you know, there's some people that sometimes it takes me an hour for them to warm up and then start to kind of like let go, and then you'll start to see it in the pictures. And I'm so picky with that because if I shoot for that hour and I'm looking at those pictures, no matter how beautiful the pictures look, I can see the nervousness, or I could see that they're not quite, you know, it's not the little something behind the eyes isn't there, and I will, you know, I'll just keep shooting. So sometimes my sessions could run 3 hours because that first hour it took that long for them to kind of relax.
Remember,
you know?
Ivonne, that was me. We were really,
Did you take a
It wasn't
minute?
a full hour, but yeah, we were. It was just like it's not nervous necessarily. It's awkward, like not knowing what to do or how to do it, and just not feeling totally sure of what your positioning is. And I think that why I love shooting with you so much is that you were able to like shake that from me, which is really hard once you're there. The more you're telling yourself to relax, the more tense you are.
get, right?
So-
Right. The opposite effect.
I think that's it right there, Roxy, is that you're so high. People are so hyper focused and so focused on the lens and what they're doing that's you get in your head because you're thinking, okay, what do I have to do? And this is interesting because I'll say to the person, I don't remember if I did this with you or not, but I'll say to the person, okay, let's regroup. Tell me a story. Like, do you have a dog?
Definitely we did this, and we started talking about other things, and it was really helpful for me because all I could think about was, I'm sucking. Which is such a weird thing to think. But
Listen,
I was like, I'm blowing this.
This goes into my acting stuff, guys. Like I said, you have to act. When you're acting, you're not aware. If you're in it 100%, you're not aware of the camera and you're not aware of the theater. You're in the moment and expressing yourself, and you need to have the same attitude when you do a headshot shoot.
Yeah.
For sure.
And when I do that little exercise with people that I'm having, you know, that I'm having trouble getting them to relax, they'll start talking and then they'll light up. Like all that energy comes on.
Comes off.
And I get excited and then I pick up the camera and then they go back to the
Yeah.
And then so I'll go, okay, you need to tell me the story into the lens. Look at me into the lens and tell me that story. And so And really, it all goes away once they feel comfortable. Like, you know, like, I don't know how long it took with you, but I do remember, Roxy, telling you, and I've never said this to anybody, but I remember telling you, you need to trust me. I know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Do you remember that?
No, I remember that. I remember because what threw me off was when she told me, she was like, your eyes are too wide. You need to have them, you know, like
just be normal.
more there. They're too wide. And I'd heard from every photographer ever that you be big-eyed.
Oh, how interesting.
And so I was like, I don't know what that means. How do I? And it
Yeah,
just like threw me
Wait,
off.
you
kilter.
overanalyzed it? I don't believe that.
Yeah, totally. You know that's my
I was
thing.
really worried about that. I remember you got like OCD on me and then you were like, but, and I'm like, just trust me.
Yeah, you're like, just do it. And then I was like, all right, yeah, sure.
And then they were amazing.
Yeah, and then they were
pictures.
unbelievable. But it was like 25 minutes of and then it was like an hour of flying. Like we just soared. But it took me a second.
So guys,
by the way, 25 minutes is nothing, Roxy.
Right.
That's actually like, you know, the norm.
I turn around pretty quick usually, but
yeah, you did awesome. You rocked it.
After you told me, trust me. Okay.
So I'm going to run down a list of things to do or don't, and we can pop in because we're getting towards the end of the show. But these are things that you should and should not do. This is all from agents and managers, my agents and managers that I asked. Things you should do, things you shouldn't. You need more than 1 or 2 looks. You can have a main look, even theatrically, and then maybe have some other looks that are kind of the ones that they will use if there's a specific thing.
So what's a good number, Sean?
He was saying like 2 and then have maybe 4 to 5 other ones.
Okay.
Loose ones of different things. Not quirky, and I'll get into that, and then don'ts. It should be just of your head, as Ivonne said. It's all in the eyes. Know the difference between commercial and theatrical. Thank God Ivonne explained that. Pick a photographer that is working for you, not for their portfolio. So obviously hearing what Ivonne is saying, she's trying to get to you, trying to make you look good, which will in turn, of course, help her if she gets a great headshot. But her focus is about you and not her, you know, what she needs. Like, oh, I need this kind of picture for my portfolio, so I'm going to use you. Treat it like an audition, like we just said. Relaxed, prepare, and ready to play. Know the style of headshot the photographer takes. Do your homework. So if someone looked you up, Ivonne, you do lots of natural lighting, and you don't like to use, like, mats behind you. Yeah, and you don't do mats behind you. Like, a lot of people have, like, the blank colors, or, you know, and I find them now. It's so funny, I'm so spoiled by you that when I see other headshots with like a colored thing behind them, I go, ooh. I mean, it's not horrible, it's not a bad thing. I know a lot of people who do it. It's just you like having texture in the background.
I do. I get bored, so I try to, I've tried the plain color, and I like it, but then I don't know, I just need texture.
Yeah,
I remember that. In terms of being prepared, I came into Ivonne with like 15 images of people she had taken that I was in love with, and I was
so smart.
I was
love
like,
that you
these
did
are
that.
what I love, and then it was helpful.
That's
because
great.
Even
That's
when
really
I was like
smart.
stressed out, we went back to that, and I was like, oh great, here we go. Like, this is what I'm looking for. I can do that.
right.
Acting.
See, but see, again, that's great prep. And then, as we all talked about, talk to your reps to have you discuss the looks that they want you to have if you have them. And then acting teacher, I would say, and co-actors in your classes. All right, what you should not do: no glamour shots. We discussed it. No gimmicks. So when I said a different look, I did not mean all of a sudden you have a lab coat and a what are a vial.
Yeah, but it's okay to do a blazer for a more professional
Yeah,
look. Just
that's general, but no gimmicks like,
Yeah.
no, I have a hard hat, or,
Cowboy
anything like
hat.
that. Yeah. Don't plan on changing your look anytime soon, like we talked about. But if you do, keep your reps informed, and then make sure you get a headshot that's current. Don't force the attitude. Don't force the thing. And this is exactly what Ivonne is saying. When you were saying you were kind of trying to force what you thought you needed,
Yeah.
and she had to disarm you. So, and then don't spend the money on someone you don't vibe with. Do you do a consultation? Do you do a phone call or some text before people come to you, Ivonne?
I'm not good at that.
Okay.
I am not good at that. So, but we will email, if they want to talk, then we definitely will, but we'll email, we'll go back and forth. And really, I mean, I'm really good. I'm a good people person. So when the person and I meet, it's like on for me. I'll start just asking questions, making them laugh,
Right.
Once they see the kind of personality that I am, I'm
Yeah.
just like, they feel a little comfortable, but it doesn't always work. Sometimes people are uncomfortable, and then I go to my little tricks up my sleeve to get them to.
Yeah, and so listening to Ivonne, you have to get a photographer who cares about getting a good shot.
Yeah.
If there's people who, I've heard a coaching woman say, when she came to me, she just couldn't believe this guy charged double what I charged, half an hour in and out, and dismissed her. And I go, I don't understand, but that is out there. So you want to have someone who you can tell cares about you. Now, usually, guys, at the end of the show, I do a stories from the set, and what I wanted to do was a story from Yvonne's set when we went and got our headshots. So you talked about a little bit of, we kind of got an idea of your journey with Yvonne. My favorite story is Yvonne and I talking about texture. She took me to a building downtown, and we were against brick walls and kind of cool windows. Do you remember that, Yvonne? And then we'd go up to the roof and all this other stuff.
so cool.
And then we were walking down the stairs about to leave, and there was a big gated old elevator there with wooden planks. And Ivonne just stopped and said, "Stop, stop, this is it, stop, stop." And we did that, and she said, "Just stand there, stand there." And I did that, and literally that's been my headshot that Gary, my manager, and that we all know and love, who will be on the show soon, said that's his favorite he's ever seen. And that was just in a moment because, and I talk to people walking around with actor's eyes, Ivonne walks around with, photographer's eyes. Now, she told a great story about you. Do you remember a specific fun story about me when we did anything?
No, that would be the story.
That would be the story, right? That was our favorite story ever. So listen, guys.
Got such a kick out of it.
Yeah. So thank you for being on the show. We appreciate it. Where can we find you? On Instagram or anything?
Yeah, Instagram, Poppy Colored Lipstick. And then from there, you can click on the link and go to my website and see my work.
Fantastic.
And I suggest you do.
Yeah, I really do. She's amazing. And like I said, we didn't want anyone else. So we moved heaven and earth to make that happen. Not that she was difficult and hard to schedule.
I can't believe how off I was.
It's hilarious.
I don't get it.
We always,
I know.
So, all right. So, as always, we can find Roxy Striar at
Roxy Striar.
At Roxy
Keeping it
Striar, Miss
simple.
Phenomenal, Mr. Funtabulous.
You guys can find me at Jeffrey C. Graham.
And I'm at That Guy SMW on Instagram and Twitter. And then you can, if you want to, on Facebook, Sean Whalen Peeps. It's a group page because my other pages are full. Sorry. So, as always, thank you for letting me be part of your journey.
Our founder, Keven Undergaro, and me, Maria Menounos, would like to thank you for tuning in to AfterBuzz TV. Remember, we're not just the first, we're the biggest in the world, and we're the only destination for all your favorite TV shows. Whatever you crave, we've got it. So go to AfterBuzzTV.com and check out our lineup. Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.